Well, hey, hi, hello, namaste, sat sri akal, adab, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the viewers of the Elite Crimes Illegal Illegal channel. जैसा कि हम हर बार करते हैं, जैसा कि हमारा वीडियो में बताया जाता है, जैसा कि जो लोगों को दिखता है कि हम लोग ये कोशिश करते हैं कि सच्चाई के दोनों पहलू आपके सामने ला के रखे. We make sure that we bring both the sides of the truth in front of you, and we also make sure that whatever is coming in front of us, we keep it as now what is in front of you. And this is the channel Elite Crimes Illegal Illegal, जहाँ पर सच की खोज की राह में एक औरत जिसने पूरे सिस्टम को मतलब चैलेंज की तरह पे लिया, जिसने मतलब अपना हर वो मुमकिन कोशिश की कि जो सच्चाई है वो लोगों के सामने आए. और जो एसएसआर ने अपने खून पसीने से जो लिखा था, उसको उसने जैसा लिखा है, विदाउट एनी एक्सपेक्टेशंस, विदाउट एनीथिंग एडिंग फ्लेवर्स टू इट और कलर्स टू इट, हम सबके सामने लाके रख रही है. दीप्ति जी, मैं उनको इंट्रोड्यूस करने से पहले हमारे चैनल का अभी रेगुलर डिस्क्लेमर होने वाला है, उसको बोलूंगा, फिर स्ट्रीम दीप्ति जी को दे दूंगा, so that she can bring Sushant's wife in front of all of you. This channel is monetized only because we wanted to make sure that whatever we are spending on this channel in the form of the StreamYard gets its income through the ads and the views, through the payment of the views which this channel generates. We are not going to promote any kind of membership. We are not going to ask for any kind of super chats. Neither any donations would be asked. सो दीप्ति जी इसके बारे में आपको एक सेकंड और बताएगी मेरे बताने के बाद, उसके बाद आज का सेशन शुरू होगा. पर अगर कोई भी हमारे नाम पे या इस चैनल के नाम पे डोनेशन पूछने की कोशिश आपको करे, तो इस मामले को दीप्ति जी के नोटिस पे जरूर लाना. हमने इस चैनल को मॉनिटाइज सिर्फ इसलिए किया था ताकि एड्स और व्यूज का जो रेवेन्यू जनरेट हो, उससे हम स्ट्रीम यार्ड का पेमेंट करें और इस सच को आपके सामने लाता जाए. Pious and the noble nature of this channel should not be compromised. That's the reason we keep repeating this. Without wasting much of anybody's time, I give center stage to Deepti ji. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dhruva. Thank you so much for making it clear before every show that we are not here for any kind of money. We will never take any money to bring truth in front of the people. These are Sushant's works that I am bringing in front of the people because he wanted to make the public aware of the realities of the system, which has been exploiting the common man and fooling the common man since many years now. Hello, everyone. I am sorry, I am bad at reading the chat section, so I just noticed the name of Saviji. Hello, Saviji. Hello, Mitraji. Hello, CA Tamil Made Easy. Everyone, and let me tell you one thing, though you people are eager to just listen to what Sushant has written, and though Dhruva seems to interrupt at times, okay, let me tell you, Dhruva was the person without whom getting hold of these drives, Sushant's drives, wouldn't have been possible. It was through him that we got the information. He was the one who facilitated a copy of drives, the coming of a copy of drives into our hands. And he also has made a lot of contribution in my justice fight for Sridevi. It was with his help, though Dhruva is not his actual name, and though he may sound to be an interruption at sometimes, but that is not his real name or real nature. More than that, I cannot reveal his true identity because of some reasons. But yes, without him, I wouldn't have come so far in this fight for justice and truth without being harmed.
Madam, 1 second, please. I'm cutting you once again. There's a very good saying which Samrat Prithviraj Chauhan, not Aki Baba, Vimal Gutka Chot Aki Baba. I'm talking about the real Samrat Prithviraj Chauhan, who told his commander when his commander took over Jai Singh. उनके कमांडर का नाम जय सिंह था. उन्होंने जब जयचंद को चैलेंज मारा था, तभी पृथ्वीराज चौहान जी ने अपनी आवाज में मधुर भाषा में ये बोला था कि युद्ध तो हर कोई लड़ता है, पर युद्ध का विजय पदक जो होता है ना, वो सिर्फ अपने सेनापति को मिलता है. तो हमारी सेनापति आप हो, हमारे बारे में लोगों को ज्यादा मत बताइएगा प्लीज, बिकॉज युद्ध लड़ने के लिए भी ना हम लोग बहुत सारा कैपिटल लेटर सी का काम कर चुके हैं। मैं गया लाइव स्ट्रीम पे सुसाइड का कोशिश किया, सब कर चुके हैं। पर अगर बिना डरे, बिना मतलब झिझके, बिना मतलब अपना रास्ता खोए, बिना कुछ भी करे, एक एक औरत, वन सिंगल female who is the stand-in example for yatra narishu pujante ramante tatra devata, and also to the words of Rajaram Mohan Rai that if you educate a female, you educate the entire society. It is you, ma'am, who has shown the path to the entire world today. We are all grateful to you for that. हम
Thank you,
just
Dhruva.
कठपुतलियां हैं.
Thank you, Dhruva, so much for being what you are and for being a constant support and my shield in this fight for justice. Thank you so much. And hello, people, hello, viewers. A very good evening to all of you. And if it is some other time zone in other countries, so good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever. So without wasting any more time, I will straight away move over to Sushant. Okay. So we will be reading session number 51 of Sushant's Drives today. Continuing from where we left last week, over to Sushant now. Not just this case, I can list a lot of other cases too, which happened in the 1990s. And each of this case was politically oriented. And if the justice was given to the people, those who got booked for the crime were one of the smallest links in the entire setup. I do not want to go there, said the person. But if I speak about another person here and make all the right connections to it, you will spit on your own face, sir. If you think how I have this information, then let me tell you. The reason I have this information is the person whose name I am going to take is not that a strong character as it is portrayed in the media. His weakness is women. And there are quite some hidden stories. If you talk to people who have worked with him, you will get to know the entire story. I'm not sure if I should be telling you this, but yes, this character is one of the prime time players. And this character, if I tell you the connections around him, then you will understand actually how deep this is. But yes, if I bring this chapter out here today, you might feel I am trying to propagate an agenda. But that is not the fact. No matter whatever good is being shown in this society today about this person is something about this person, and I agree. Some decisions taken and some activities that have happened, no doubt, were stand aparts. But the past associated with the person is something that needs to be pondered about. I'm not sure where to start and how to continue. But yes, if you need to know the stories, let me give you some points and see where this is going. That will actually give me an idea whether I should be telling this chapter to you or not. Was caught with the people of underworld, but then was let go when he gave the explanation for it. Has been closely associated in the top offices of the country, has been the mainstay in some landmark decisions being made when India came into the picture, has been very successful in his career, a staunch follower of Swami Vivekananda, came back from retirement, has so many laurels to his name, probably the most powerful brain in the country today. The think tank to top political offices in the country. Wise, shrewd, and cunning, he can change roles as and how situations demand. A master in mind manipulation, a master in making people surrender. Give him any situation, he has the solution. The only person to be awarded a laurel which no one from the same field got. Go-to man during controversies. Mastermind. Strong personality. Mob influencer. Cabinet member. Public servant. Most efficient officer. Highly knowledgeable. One of the very few people who can execute undercover operations to perfection. Well versed with law, well versed with international treaties, master negotiator, excellent operator, great statesman, excellent team player, leader, used to be a master of disguises, knows a lot of languages, dwells well into a character, silent operator, executes anything to perfection, loves cigar the most. Takes a lot of pride in himself. Anger is on the tip of his nose. Highly egoistic, has the mindset of a dictator, sound and strong brain, seeks attention, can work in long shifts, can take any sort of pressure or tensions, has 10 solutions to a problem, can create a situation out of nowhere, can do anything to trap people whom he wants to trap. Dominator, never say die attitude, never give up attitude, last minute strategical genius, active listener, slow approach to tough situations, on the spot decisions without thinking a second time once the thought strikes him. Likes to play in blind, takes chances, doesn't lay out his cards in the open, acts as if he has lost everything and suddenly he bounces back. Master in time management, master in team management, master of strategies, both civil and security strategies, acts instantly but takes time to react. Sometimes goes totally silent but bounces back in style. Hates his defeats, always successful, 98%. Plays with emotions, plays with sentiments, acts weak, acts as if he knows nothing, starts things from the ground level, the go-to person if something has to be started from scratch. A master at his job when it comes to destroy evidences or make sure that no one knows what is happening around. If you are getting an idea whom I am referring to, then fine. If not, let me tell you upfront. I want you to promise me these things even before I utter a word on this subject. You will not assume anything till I am done with the entire thing. I understand you might have questions, but then till I finish the entire thing, you will not ask me questions. If you have any doubts or feel what I am saying is crap, you will still listen to me and let me complete what I am trying to say. You will not take my name out anywhere. You will take care of your own safety and only then progress with this subject. See, I understand and am very well aware what I am going to speak. And I have all the points to show you all possible connections in this regard. But let me warn you upfront. You will be the most hated person in this country if you bring this out. But then, if you want to finish this task and get your desired result, This chapter is going to play the most important role, if not the most important role this chapter will play, will be a very important role in this context. This is something which the people of our country should know. But yes, this has to come out in the right way. If you do one small mistake here, then the entire effort of yours can go inside the drain. So if you want to listen to it, then make sure that you listen to all this with an open mind. Because I myself know beforehand the reactions that you might be giving might not be a favorable one. But the information that I am going to share now is having solid connections to it, which I felt were true. And when I know that you are on a mission where you want to bring out the untold chapters in the pages of history, this chapter here today holds a very important and integral part in your mission. So, shall I? I was totally confused on what was going on. But because this thing that is being told to me neither has a head nor a tail to it, and here the biggest confusion again was the person is telling me that it was an important chapter. I was busy thinking, what is this that is coming out from the person's mouth? Even before I could say something, Nahar jumped into it and said, "Please go ahead." All I could do was give a cold stare to Nahar and receive his middle finger as a response to my stare. The person started reluctantly, but Nahar was all ears to him. When I was still trying to analyze what the hell on earth is happening, Nahar was losing his patience, so I decided, let's hear it out. When I nodded, the person started. The man I'm going to talk about now is the current incumbent national security advisor of our country. And the laurels to his name are huge, right? Let me tell you some dirty connections to this so that you can understand and analyze it for yourself. Shall we proceed? I was in a state of shock when I heard this. But then the pointers that this person gave to us before taking such a huge name all made sense for me. It is very much about learning the entire thing out. Because if there is anything that has to do with humanity and society here, then I need to listen to this, though I would be keeping all this at the back of my mind and will only react to this only if I find some sense in it. But I think I should be going with this. But let me make one point clear here, as of now. For me, this is a story that I am going to listen, and there is no head or tail to this story. And while reading this, if you feel why I am writing all this when I should be knowing what I am doing, then let me tell you people that what is going to happen in the future, there is no guarantee. If I am alive, I am very well aware what I should be doing. But if I am not, my work has to speak for itself. If this task has to be completed, there should be no confusion whatsoever. Some informations that I have collected can stand proof, as there are some valid connections to it. And there are instances and pointers to get to some stuff connected to this information to seal them out as truthful. But some informations like this that I am going to make notes of are just stories, nothing to add to it. I am making a note of this even before I am listening to this person. And yes, I am not aware if I would be breathing before I get to hear it out completely. So let me make it very clear here that this is just something that I'm getting to hear with no validations to it. And I do not take any guarantee for this information in any degree whatsoever. This can just be the imagination of this person. I am not sure. But I have promised to myself that I am going to make a note of everything that I get to hear. So I am making a note of all this. Let me conclude. This could very much be fiction or someone's created imagination. The person started the Golden Temple incident. We all know that Doval Sahab was one of the masterminds who went inside the Golden Temple and got the people inside there into confessions and surrender. He went inside unarmed and pulled off something which could be coined as a genius work when strategic executions were taken into accord. But if some reports around the same time are to be read, then the point that stands out here is that Dowell Sahib did portray himself to be an ISI agent. Not a word on this is found anywhere apart from some coded texts in the media. I have the link to that news which I can share with you, said the person. The link he shared was https colon / Carvan Magazine, CarvanMagazine /government government /Ajit AGIT hyphen Doval DOVAL hyphen operation hyphen black hyphen thunder hyphen except EXCERPT. My comments to this would yes, indeed, there was a faint mention to this in that article, but nothing can be concluded as to who was being referred there on that particular instance. I am giving out my understanding here. The link is mentioned above, and each one of us is free to make their own apprehensions about it. Strangely, he was one of the three negotiators who carried on the negotiations with the terrorists who had hijacked the Indian flight in Afghanistan. This can be given the consideration because he was into such operations for a very long time. But then there are some confusions here in this context. Concludes that when Doval Sahab had done wonders in the past, how was he not capable enough to get this thing executed? However, there are statements that followed to this, and some amends were made. But the only thing that blocks my thoughts here in this context is the way the case was handled in the court. Once the people came back, some reports say Doval Saab was himself a witness to some of the things that happened around this time. But then, why was it that some people connected to the case were released due to lack of evidences? There was an employee from the passport office, and if you do some research here, based on what I have heard, this employee was in constant touch with Jaswant Singh and others too, much before the incident of the hijack. Though I don't have evidences to prove this, nor am I a person who can pull it out. If you can do it, or if there is any way you can work around this, a lot of answers will be sought. The thing that confuses me even the more is that a mere visit to the Markaz was enough for the people to surrender. Just one meeting with the leadership of Markaz and the people surrendered right away. Though media has different stories to tell here, and I think, I'm not sure, though some RTIs And I think, I'm not sure though, some RTIs were
I'm
filed
sorry.
in.
I'm sorry, Dipti ji. I had to step in because I had to like tell you that that the stream has been multi-looped on 5 6 other devices. So kindly be on the watch out for people joining in without your knowledge. I'll make my best to block them off the studio, whatever it is. But if in case I'm not able to do this, because if it is your stream, I'm just an administrator here, not the owner of the channel. So kindly make sure that you block or throw them away.
Dhruva, let me tell you that I haven't shared the link to join the stream with anyone except you. And yes, that's the reason I have been smiling constantly, though the content is so very serious in nature. That's because I know that constant loops and constant. I'm getting so many phone calls by the side as well and messages, so I'm not able to concentrate on the content as well. So anyway, I'm so sorry people for this interruption. We will go back to Sushant now. Okay. The thing that confuses me even the more is that a mere visit to the Markaz was enough for the people to surrender. Just one meeting with the leadership of Markaz, and the people surrendered right away. Though media has different stories to tell here, and I think, I'm not sure, though some RTIs were filed in this regard, I'm not sure of this. No one was ever able to make connection whatsoever has to. How this was pulled off. This. The Delhi police tried. They failed. Amit Shah ji tried. He failed. So many others tried. They failed. Ajit ji walks in at 2 a.m. in the morning and all sorted and settled. And the actions that were taken on the Markaz, I feel, was a let off. I do not want to trigger a religious controversy here, but I feel these points are some points which someone with common sense should give a thought about. I am just telling you what I feel around this, and I am not imposing my thoughts on you. But these questions have been in my mind for a very long time. And there are instances when Dowal Sahab was found in compromising positions which can never be proud or accounted for. But yes, if you want to test it, you can do it if you are wise enough. But then all these things will never come out. And these things will be suppressed if anyone tries to bring them out. The biggest question mark that remains unanswered here is that Dowal Sahab was in Pakistan for 8 years, and he came out of Pakistan unscratched, unhurt, whereas an officer who was at least 10 times more intelligent than Dowal Sahab was caught, and there was nothing much anyone could do around it. I'm not raising any allegations here, but I am not sure if you know Ajit Dowal Sahab was once caught in an I'm sorry, I will repeat this again. I'm not raising any allegations here, but I'm not sure if you know Ajit Dowal Sahab was once caught in an counter-terrorist operation that was planning to eliminate Dawood using Chota Rajan's men. Completely understandable. And yes, there is no guarantee on who is speaking the truth here or who is lying. But the one thing that can be concluded here is that there was a plan that the Rajan gang was up to. And there were inputs on the same. Whatever be the story, this side, or rather, let me say, whatever be the strategy, this side I fail to understand what was the reason for this exercise at all in the first place. And if the plan was to be executed the way it was portrayed in the media, then why Dubai? See, let me make one point very clear here, said the person. I'm not sure how much of this is actually true, or if any of this is true at all. But these are the questions I have in my mind, and the answers to them I'm not sure who will be able to find. But yes, when I look into the reports that came in and try and connect the same with Doval Sahab, my mind raises 1,000 alarms. And most of these alarms, I think, have very strong connections. There are continuous reports of fallouts within the parties, but then all looks fine when the final whistle has to be blown. What is happening? I just fail to understand. The person went to add, the one thing I learned from my experience is that when you work with these people, never be under the assumption that what you see is the reality. Never even think of it that you have gotten all the infos, but nothing actually is how it looks to be. There would be a lot of feathers that have been added here. There would be a lot of things that are yet to be dug out. These people work in controversial styles, so it is very hard to conclude what the motive or intention behind it actually is. It looks crooked to the naked eye, but can be straight and clean from the inside. But what confuses even more is that when questions are asked to these people, there is total silence, total numbness, and we still have to take it as considered that the answers to these questions would be a threat to national security. I just wanted to tell you what I was feeling. And let me confess this. This can be true, this cannot be true. But the connections it has to various other subjects does give us a hint that some things that have happened in our country has happened with the knowledge of the greats. And yes, there were some connections between the people when it came to what was the ulterior motive that was sought. For example, if we go by what was told, then that it was a plan of the intelligence to use Rajan's men against Daud. My question would be, Rajan kaun sa doodh ka dhula hai? And to add more to this, though Mahajanji was not alive during this time, one of the names on Rajan's hit list where he extorted people and threatened people for money was Mahajanji. Now analyze for yourself. How good could this be a reason to eliminate another crime boss and getting the job done through someone who is already on the hit list? This incident happened in 2005 and Mahajanji was shot dead in 2006, with his brother constantly telling the court that he did not shoot. Though the trails told otherwise, what can a common man conclude here? Asked the person. Taking a break from the person's words, let me tell you that I hold Ajit Dovalji in equally high regards as I hold Modi ji. And sure that the greatest spies our country has ever produced will have the right explanation to give without posing a threat to national security. And if there are no answers for some questions too, I would understand. But some generic and straightforward questions that deserve answers, I will make sure I will project my questions in the right way and then come to conclusion here on this matter. Sometimes it does happen that what we see or hear is not the complete truth. I too feel the same here. The person who has been instrumental in pulling off so many things for our country can never be wrong. And if he is wrong or not will depend on his answers. So, in my eyes, this chapter here for now is fiction, and I will conclude on how much reality is there in this chapter once I get to meet Modi ji, and will request Modi ji to help me get connected to Ajit Doval ji and give my final comments on this chapter. Vyapam scam. This is another context here wherein it will prove that every political party that was ever formed in our country and the ones that continue to exist today all are one and have equal shares in most of the crimes that have happened in our country. Because if you take a closer look to the scam and study the scam a little deeper, the happenings around this scam are so tricky and questionable, yet there was nothing that was done on this regard. And the deaths that have happened around this time are yet another unclosed chapter in the judicial books. Taking a break from the man's words, I was beginning to feel that this man was having an agenda against our government, which is in power. But even before I could come to a conclusion, the person started. If you have to have an unbiased opinion about Viapam scam, then all you need to do is read every report out in the media on the scam and how things turned out. What were the challenges that were thrown on each other and how did each of them respond to this? I will not feed my thought process on to you, but then the timeline of events in the Viapam scam are as follows. And yes, you do not need to just believe my words. You can do some online research yourself and you will find a lot of answers to the same if you understand what you are reading. But let me give you a rough idea about what I know on this subject, said the person. The main benchmarks in the scam are from 2000 to 2012, there were around 55 lawsuits that were filed across Madhya Pradesh, but no formal inquiry was done. At least there was no real progress on paper or on ground. The first breakthrough came in 2013. I am a big fan of MS Dhoni, so this date is as fresh in my mind as anything else. The first real progress on ground happened when on 7th of July 2013, the Indore Crime Branch filed a detailed FIR detaining 20 impersonators and detained Dr. Jagdish Sagar, who was very close and was one of the persons who was closely connected to Education Minister Lakshmikant Shukla. STF, STF comes into the picture and charges Lakshmikant Shukla. STF, Special Task Force, comes into the picture and it is found out that over 500 people who took the PMT were actually a part of these investigations that have unearthed, and around 350 were ruled off. A couple of months from this, Lakshmikant Shukla was detained as there were proofs against him, and he was charged in this case. The CBI calls out for then BJP Vice President Uma Bharati for questioning. Even a kid knows for a fact who was Uma Bharati ji. Very close to. I do not want to create a controversy here by giving any other statement on this. Shivraj Chauhan, the Chief Minister, retracts from his statement when he earlier said in an assembly session that around 1,000 appointments that were made since 2007 were found illegitimate of the 1.47 lakh appointments made during this period. But when the matters started to heat up, the numbers got automatically reduced to 200, and there is no investigation done on this whatsoever. As on the day he was speaking to us, December 2018, there was a classic statement that came out from Chauhan that he will give up politics if he is proven guilty, and moreover, will also renounce the world. Things started to heat up from there, and the High Court ordered for a sit probe. Congress steps in and says that they have gotten someone by the name of Prashant Pandey, who was a police informer, and he had informed the Congress people that Special Task Force was acting on Chauhan's orders. and the special task force was defending Chauhan, and there were a lot of games played with the investigations. This was not taken seriously and was written off. But then, what happened next was that this very person, Prashant Pandey, flees from Madhya Pradesh and files a petition in Delhi that he is fearing his life. What happens here is that as soon as this petition is filed, the police arrest Pandey on grounds that he was blackmailing the Vayapam scam accused into paying him money based on the call records that had generated during the course of the police investigations. Another aspect comes to light here that Pandey was appointed by the police to aid them in investigations and to add more fuel to fire. Things here took a vicious turn when it was found out that the Madhya Pradesh police were using unlawful methods into tapping phones and also were strong pointers and also were keeping their surveillance on this issue, which was not sanctioned, which was later brushed aside as an allegation. But then there were strong pointers that can make one believe that there is an element of truth in any of these statements that came out to the public domain, because BJP by now had started accusing Digvijay Singh for forgery, and as much as I hate this person, Singh, he counterattacked by presenting all that he had to the court and to whomsoever it would concern. And this led to the BJP being a toothless tiger. Though there are no instances recorded for this, it is quite conclusive that this is the fact, because as soon as Digvijay's response came, the BJP apparently never took his name and forgot his name altogether. What should one conclude over here? There are detailed reports on this on Wikipedia and other online news portals, so I will not have to add anything more here. Every game that was played was reported, but then things came to a halt when some people who had agreed to turn witness, or the team of journalists who were reporting this matter, died under mysterious circumstances, while the government and the probing agencies maintained their stand that all these were natural deaths. The list of people who died around this time are Vikas Pandey. He was running a coaching institute and was a lawyer by profession. The cause of death recorded was brain hemorrhage. Not many know that this death occurred just a mere few hours before he was to be called for investigation. Another death that was closely connected to this death was Prem Lata Pandey. She too was a suspect in the contract teacher scam. This Vikas Pandey came under the radar because his institute was one such where aspiring candidates were trained, and this institute was the hub where collections were made. Because there is one instance wherein all allegation which is yet to be proved that the police detained Pandey's wife with funds transferred through Hawala initially found its roots here. I'm not sure if Vikas was already dead by then or not, but what was reported in the media is that this transaction happened at the place where Pandey's wife was working as an HR, and the investigations never progressed from here whatsoever. I just realized the confusion I could have created in the earlier slide where I mentioned Pandey's wife. I am making a reference to Prashant Pandey's wife, just in case if there is any confusion, this I would apologize for the same. Other names that were probed with the death of Vikas Pandey were Anand Singh died to mysterious illness. Ashutosh Tiwari died due to heart attack. He was a medical student. Rajendra Yadav, liver illness. No prior records whatsoever of liver-related ailments. Sanjay Yadav, a key witness in the constable scam, also died due to liver illness. Here, three things came into the picture with Sanjay Yadav. Sanjay Yadav too never had any records of prior liver ailments. Initially, it was claimed that he died due to a mysterious illness. His death occurred 10 hours before he was to record his statement. Anantram Tagore, the father of a student who got admission through this scam, died of an unspecified disease. This Mr. Tagore is believed to have been the representative on behalf of Dr. Sagar, though there are no conclusive evidences on this. Ravindra Prakash Singh, another key witness in the contract teaching episode, died out of suspected poisoning. This death again is another strange one. When it was initially reported, it was a case of suspected poisoning. But later on investigations, the cause of death changed from suspected poisoning to a mysterious illness, and no one was really bothered to actually look into the matter at all. I think I am wasting your time taking all the names here. These names are available on the public domain. You can look for them yourself, sir. But yes, the point I am trying to make over here is that none of the people who died according to the causes of death that were no ways connected to their current health condition, or they did not have any history of the cause that came out in the post-mortem report. But then, what happened? The investigations are pending even to date. Yes, I agree. Prashant Pandey is a controversial figure and has more than one controversies to his name. But then, why is it that all the petitions that he has filed are pending even to date, and that too in the Supreme Court of India? The one thing that amuses me in the way our judicial systems work is that something new comes up, it gets through instantly. But what has been pending for years is yet to reach a conclusion. And yes, there is negligible progress too on these matters. To make it worse, how can common man have any hope that there is a chance that the injustice happening in the society will be solved, and the questions that have for long remained unsolved will have answers? Many within the circles feel that the only reason National Herald case is getting prolonged for so long is because these two cases are each other's trump cards. Vyapam scam being the trump card of Congress and National Herald being the trump card of BJP. And this also shows that the people who are hand in glove are a team who execute their tasks to perfection. And if there is any opportunity for the man who is leading our country today, he will have his hands tied, because often the mass overtakes the class. However, there are fair amounts of incidents that has the man himself under the scanner. I'm not sure what is the reality, but only time will tell what is in store for us. But yes, the one thing I would like to stress on over here is that the differences these people have and portray in the media is only for the public. At the end of the day, all these people are one, and there are no second thoughts to it. Hello, I would like to take a break here, people. Viewers, I'm so sorry for that. I just wanted to add something over here. Recently, National Herald was in news. So let me tell you, if people think that the content of the slides is matching with what is happening right now, that is not the case, because whatever I am reading on the show, I have shared it days ahead on my social media profile, Twitter, on Twitter. Okay, so things are happening like this, that when the content in the drives have come out in the social media, first it comes on Twitter, and after some days I do a session of it on YouTube. So all this matter has already been shared days ahead, and after that this National Herald case came up, but we don't know again what is happening with that. Let's see if it reaches any conclusion or not. I just wanted to tell this here. I couldn't stop myself from saying this. So, okay. Now back to Sushant again. Have you ever tried to analyze when a person is a part of one party, he abuses the other party? But some time later, it does happen that the very person who was abusing the very party becomes a part of that party. I can take a lot of names, but the latest one I would like to take is of Navjot Singh Sidhu. Have a look at his statements when he was a part of the BJP party and analyze his statements now. Aren't these people contradicting themselves? And the citizens of the state are still following a person who just couldn't stand true to his statements? Irony, right? The person said. If you study Indian history, well, you will find a huge list of murders that have happened with a political motive behind it. And these cold-blooded murders never saw any conclusion. Cold-blooded is not the right word maybe, but I do not have any other word to add here. What is the reason for this? Don't you think the reason can be the matter of fact that these people had become threats to the respective organization, and that's why they had to be put to rest? I do not need to narrate such incidents to you. You just need to browse the web, do some research, you will find answers for yourself. But yes, the list of scams and the list of wrongdoings that happened when each of the parties were in power do hold connections to the crimes that have happened in our country. And it is up to us how we want to approach this issue, sir. You or me cannot do much till the entire public in the country gets awakened. They have the money, and the only counter we can give to their money is having huge number of people raising their voice. Raising their voice. Till this happens, for sure, there is no hope that anything good can happen in the society today. During my lifetime. During my time with these people and even to date, I have known, seen, and lived with a lot of people who wanted to do a lot of things for the society. But then nothing worked out because if they had the power to do it, they did not have support. If you want me to talk with examples, I would take the name of N.N. Vohra. The man single handedly did a lot of things and submitted a detailed report on the same. What action has been taken on the report? Nothing, right? The man was probably holding a top office in our country, and the powers that came with that chair, if the person was actually given a free hand, a lot of things in our country would change. But then what has happened in our country? What actions have been taken on this report? Nothing, right? And look how lightly the report has been taken till date. If you read the report, you will clearly understand that everything that is happening in our country is being governed by a nexus. And the nexus is the reason for all the things that are happening around us. But what are the actions taken? The actions taken on this are nil. I might be repeating my statements here, but the reason I am doing it is because the people of our country are sometimes deaf. So you need to keep repeating things till they actually understand and make sense out of it. I might not come out in the open with you speaking all this, but if you have to make an impact, then you need to keep repeating your statements one time, 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times, a lakh times, and so on, till people actually understand what is happening. The name these people have made for themselves and the aura they hold is enough for them to pull this till eternity and ensure nothing ever happens. But then it is up to us. How do we get these matters out? You might ask me that if I have so much information, why am I silent? Let me tell you, sir, I am just a very small person, but you are a public figure. If I come out with such information, I'm not sure if it will make any impact in the first place, but it is up to people who hold some standing in the society to start. And when people get to see that, yes, there are true people out there who have concerns for the society, these issues will definitely pick up. And that, according to me, is the only hope we can have towards establishing a cleaner society. Show me one person in the society today who can stand strong on the belief that what goes around comes around. Yes, I agree, common people have it in their heart and live this. But what the society is showing is all these are good only in books. Because someone murders someone in his youth. And by the time the courts get to the judgment, the person would have lived a happy life. There could be instances wherein the someone who committed the crime could have been behind bars. But again, what happens is, but again, what happens in the jails is another totally different chapter altogether. There are classic examples when criminals had AC rooms in jails, they had top quality food, they had all the luxuries at their disposal, alcohol was readily available, cigarettes and drugs were readily available, they had their own free will inside the jail. If I have to take names, I can take names too here. Sasikala, Lalu Yadav, Sanjay Dutt, second term, though there are informations that in his first term too, he was very comfortable inside the jail. But then the movie that came out, Sanju, has fictionalized the entire thing. And now it is a little difficult to say which of them is true. But then we need to go by the fact that what is told by the man himself can be his version to gain sympathy. Subrato Roy, Subrato Roy, this was heights of it. When he was in prison, he had facilities like an AC room, a mobile phone, Western style toilet, a room for video conferencing, a security guard. Tihar jail billed him 50,000 Tihar jail billed him 55,000 per day for it, and Roy's company bore the expenses. It was for the first time in the history that someone serving a jail term in Tihar jail got such a treatment. Suresh Kalmadi, Ram Rahim, Asaram Bapu, Sanjeev Yadav, Anka Verma, Vikas and Vishal Yadav, Manu Sharma. The best example of this is cited in one instance, and that instance is when Vijay Mallya had challenged his extradition, saying that the condition in the Indian jails are not good. A video conference was made, and in this video conference, the jail authorities showed some of their best prison cells with AC rooms, LCD televisions, Western style toilets, attached phones, video conference rooms, and lots more. These prisoners in the jails get mineral water, longer visiting hours, better treatment like other prisoners have a limited time to stroll in the premise. But these people who are top businessmen or have a good hold get longer hours. Some instances have been recorded wherein tiffin boxes came from home to these criminals. Why would anyone be scared of going to jail? My facial expressions were changing. Seeing this, the person said, if you have the slightest of doubts that I am trying to spread an agenda here, then let me tell you, I have proofs for what I am saying. There have been RTIs that have been filed. There have been confession statements that have been given by fellow prisoners. You can look up for them. If you need some idea where to start, then this report that was published online can help, said the person. And he shared a link to me. When I went through the link, I had no options but to believe that every word the person spoke was true. And there are evidences to it as well. Even the courts had questioned on this, but there were no proper answers sought. Okay, so that's it for today, people. I hope I was clear today. There were a lot of disturbances because the topic was sensitive and a lot of attacks were happening as well, and I was getting a lot of messages as well to stop. So I was also distracted a bit, but I hope this didn't affect the clarity, and whatever I read today was clear to all of you. Kindly let me know in the comment sections. I would like to interact with you people, but I don't know how to do it. So, okay. We will meet again next week. Thank you so much for your time. Take care.